Welcome to the I See You Bro podcast. We got a super duper guest
I'm here.
here.
I'm all for it.
Yeah,
all for it.
Mathew Dupe. Welcome to the I See You Bro podcast, and we're happy to have you. When we thought about this episode and what we would be talking about and all of the things that we wanted to dive into, you were one of the first names that came up.
I appreciate that for real.
Yeah,
That's dope. Much respect.
Yeah, and not only super proud of the things that you have done, but the things that you currently do, and outside of the things that you do, who you are. We always think we don't really care what you do. We care about who you actively are.
Right.
When we bring people into the space and into the conversation. So shout out to you.
I appreciate that. That's much respect, fellas. I appreciate all of y'all for even thinking and considering me. So
yeah,
that's held in a high regard because I know y'all pretty well.
Yeah, thank you.
So the respect is very mutual.
Thank you. Before I want to pass it to before Eury asks our first question. I'll say that story. I'll save that story. He's okay. So y'all know there's been this like crazy journey of me being like, all right, I'm about to shift into like the Hulk, right? When I first got the residency program with Assembly, Mathew saw, he was like, bro, you being weird.
No joke.
He was like, you being weird. And he was like, stop. When you go into spaces, know that you're there for a reason. You know, go in there as your full self. Don't play that game. You know, he didn't call me weird, but that's what he was saying. He was like, "You acting weird, bro."
In so many words.
Yeah, he was like, "You acting weird, bro. You not being yourself." And and so that's the prime example of like a I see you, bro moment happening, like personified. And a lot of people don't get to see that in black men in those conversations that happen on the background, where it's like, yo, you kind of slipping on your pimping, bro. You know what got you in here is not how you showing up.
It's funny that he brought this up, man, because in all honesty, when I saw Brenten in Assembly that day, I was just like, bro, you not being yourself. Like, and I was like, yo.
Eury does that same thing to me.
I was like, yo, you're not being yourself. Like, you got to show your full potential of who you are in here. Like, your energy, the person that you are is what people are going to respect and always love. Don't downgrade who you are. Don't downsize your personality. Be you 24/7. Like, let these people in here know exactly who you are on entry and on exit. They're going to respect you a lot more rather than, we show up and put this face on like, hey, I'm here. Like, be you. I will walk into everywhere my exact self. If it's a meeting at a certain time and I'm dressed in soccer clothes, we're still going to take this meeting because you're going to respect me for who I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If I got to walk in there with soccer gear on, I'm in there with soccer gear on, but you booked me for a reason because you know what I bring to the table. Yeah. And that's what I was getting him to understand. It was like, you're an intelligent young black man. You have a voice, you have charisma, you have all of these great personalities. Don't let nobody in here make you feel smaller than you are because they're just as big as everybody in here. And from that day forward, I watched him, and I every time I see him, it's the same energy. Because from that day forward, he transformed inside that building. And I was like, that's the person I want to see every time in here.
Yeah, it happens. It happens, and thank you again for being here. It happens, and Eury's like that too. Eury's one of the people that'll be like, bro, y'all being weird. Why y'all acting like that? Where he like, I'm not actually agreeing with this.
Right.
Which brings us to, I know Eury, you got a question for us.
I got a ton.
Yeah.
I got a ton. I was prepping all day for this. I think this is going to be a great conversation. Yeah. So thank you for coming through, Matt. Definitely appreciate it. I wanted to ask each individual here kind of where you are mentally today. And I can start by saying that I acknowledge that there is a shift happening. I feel like there's growth going on because I find that a lot of shit just doesn't make sense, right? Like things that were working professionally, personally for the last how many ever months suddenly stopped, which means that there is adjustments that need to be made, right? Tweaks that need to be made. I find myself leaning on things like basketball to kind of, I don't know, just give me that thing for me to clear my mind and take me away from the everyday, right? I find myself leaning on people more. Okay. I've got my first mentor at this company. Just deeper conversations with Aaliyah at home. But yeah, I just find myself in this space where I acknowledge the growth that's going on. I acknowledge that it's uncomfortable, but it's, I'm taking it day by day and going through, because I understand that this happens from time to time, right? And we either accept it and acknowledge it, or we reject it and continue being the same as we are now. And I choose growth every time. So I'm excited to see where that leads.
Yeah.
Excited to see the changes that come about in that process. But yeah, that's currently where I'm at. And I'll open the floor to whoever wants to go next and kind of explain a little bit about where you are mentally today and how that's affecting you in any way.
Go ahead, Brenten. You got it.
Yeah. So where am I? Along the lines of what you said, that there's this shift that's happening right now. And I can't really quite understand it. And I know it's not necessarily meant for me to fully understand it right now, but to walk confidently in the progress of it. I'm being called to not really settle in my being, like really listen to my body these days. Like, what does your neurology say? I always talk about like listening to what does your heart say? What, like, does your stomach drop when you talking to somebody and there's a decision made?
Right.
And so that is becoming much harder to ignore.
Yeah.
Like
that voice gets louder and louder.
Like
No,
that's
a good thing, I think.
And so there's
clear.
Exactly. And it's like we're always taught to kind of like ignore that and be likable and
work to the room.
And and conform to the room. And losing that is risky. It feels very risky. And so I'm mentally I'm good, but I still feel very a little nervous, right? It's like this nervous courage.
So let me ask you this question. I don't mean to cut you.
No, you good. You good.
Is that nervous courage vulnerability?
Yes.
Would you say that it's because I feel a sense of I would say it's a little bit of nervousness, but it can be a little bit of fear. And I think Tremaine and I spoke about this. Is like fear is not something I run away from anymore. It's a guide.
Yeah.
Like if I fear something that I have that's coming up for me, I know that I need to dive fully into that, because that fear, what I fear is ultimately what's going to cause the growth, right, within me to accomplish that or to do that thing. So just wanted to add those 2 cents, but yeah, please.
You want? Listen,
Dupe.
I love the fear.
Yeah.
For me, fear is what brings it out of you, brings the courage out of you. It's like, at the end of the day, that fear is going to push you to either one or two ways. To you to be the greatest version of yourself, or you to hide everything. As a child, you grow to hide everything. But as you get older and becoming a man, you start to become that lion.
Yeah.
You start to break away those fears and like shed those things away. Because at some point they can't affect you anymore. But as a kid, you keep them in.
Yep.
You hold on to them real tight, like it's your favorite toy, your favorite game. You don't want to let it go. But as a man, and then becoming into these changes in life and phases, we got to let certain things go. We got to shed them. And so, I mean, even now myself, where I'm at today, man, I'm thankful. I'm grateful. A lot of alignment's been happening for me. The progression and the projections are going up. And I'm just giving grace, man. Like, each day above ground and being able to do the things that I do and impact the people that I get to impact and realize that what I'm doing is bigger than me. It's way bigger than me. And the rooms that I get to walk into, the access that I get, the people that I get to interact with every single day, even the strangers that I meet and give things to and talk to, it blows my mind. Like, even in the present moment, I feel completely different now. Like, and that's just the space that I'm in.
Yeah.
It's like the aura is different. Last year I got to find out who I was and what I can do, what I can't do. And I didn't say what I can do, but what I haven't done yet.
Right.
And to come into 24 where we're here and with 31 days and a month in, and the things that I've accomplished in a month already has allowed me to go ahead and say, you know what, it's time. Like, you can no longer look back. It's way too many people watching you. It's a lot more at stake, and you're capable of doing more.
Yeah.
So if you want greatness, you got to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And what better time than now?
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, I've learned to not overwork myself,
Mm-hmm.
but to work wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learn how to manipulate space. Learn how to manipulate, the variables around you, the people around you. And when I say the people around you, as in like knowing who to have conversations with
Mm-hmm.
and how far they need to go and who not to have conversations with. Sometimes we want to keep friends along, or we want to keep certain situations along, and realize at some point that bad feeling that you had a month ago about this person, it's kind of just time to keep it there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on? You good? I'm good. Word.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Go on to the conversation that really matters. Go into the rooms that really matter, that really challenge you, because now we're at the age of challenge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We could no longer keep doing the same things on the treadmill. It's like we need a new workout.
Yeah.
We need a new mental push
Mm-hmm.
because we get bored.
Mm-hmm.
We already know your response. If I already know your response, you're no longer in the same conversation for me.
Mm-hmm.
I need that challenge from you. I need you to pick my brain. I need you to push me to be better because I'm holding you to that standard.
That's good.
So that's just a little bit of where I'm at today.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me takes courage. But a lot of grace. It takes a lot of grace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm truly thankful for that. And I mean, the people that are in my life, I love them for it
Mm-hmm.
because they've helped me become that person in the last year and a half.
Word.
And it took a lot of breaking down and a lot of self-assessment, but I'm here.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, bro. For people that don't know, and we'll get into a lot of what you've done in the journey. I know Eury wants to ask that before we slide over to Mars, but before we slide to Mars, I want to say that Mathew is one of God's favorites. For the people that don't know, one of God's favorites for sure. But Mars,
I appreciate that for real.
Like Dupe said, I'm glad he said it. It was what I was thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
My mental health today is like tested. I think our mental health is always tested, and we tend to forget that. When we forget that, it's kind of like we're out of practice, right?
Right.
You said you need that mental push, right? And I always try to tell people when I'm talking about mindset and mental health and mental wellness is it's like going to the gym. If you stop going to the gym and stop addressing it, your body's gonna be affected and you'll see a change, right? But in mental health and mental wellness, a lot of people don't really see the change until it's too late or it's boiled over where it's not supposed to. So
Right.
I just say mine's tested, but it's good that I'm able to have self-care in spaces like this where I can come and get re-energized through growth, because all of you guys said growth and growing and being blessed and stuff, and so I feel that energy when I'm able to be in spaces like this. But yeah, it's definitely tested, but I think that's on an everyday basis when you're like a community servant like me.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
yeah,
Hell yeah.
yeah,
Gotta fill your cup up, brother.
yeah,
So
always.
Listen.
appreciate y'all for sharing, man. Definitely do. Just wanted to get a sense of where we all currently are, just so that we can start peeling back the layers and uncover a little bit more about our wellness journeys individually, because it all led us here to this room, this space, right? So I wanted to ask just kind of what prompted your wellness journey. I can start while y'all just think of y'all answers. For me, I know that my mental wellness journey started when I was at my loneliest moment, I feel. It's at a time where I realized that it was on me to save me, right? Like, I had been through what I'd been through. A lot of those circumstances I did not have control over. I have control over now on how I heal from those traumas, those circumstances. And now I get to, in a sense, dictate how that looks moving forward and how I pay it forward, right? But first, I need to do the work for me, right? Before I start helping anyone else. Because it's my thing that my healing will help others heal, right? So I felt like at a certain point, I had reached different levels of success, whether it was, basketball here or like when I joined the military. I was just thrown into like leadership positions fairly early, but I found that I was my own worst enemy, right? Like, things would happen to where I'm not reaching my full potential. It's almost as if I hit a peak and then I just nosedive. and then I have to rebuild myself, shed all of that, and rise again. And it felt like that kept happening over and over. I would hit a peak, nosedive, hit a peak, nosedive. And I was like, how do I keep a more steady flow so where it's not that dramatic? So I would say that started my wellness journey into where I started exploring different things. And you'll hear, for the listeners, you'll hear so many different options people went through to get to where they are in terms of what they practice. But literally just starting to look into meditation, right? Going on walks, walking on the beach barefoot, like different things that just made me feel good again. Because I found myself in a perpetual state of always feeling tired, always feeling angry or bad. So I would say that's what led me to my journey. I was around maybe 23-ish, 24-ish, so like early to mid 20s when I really started. But yeah, definitely curious to understand how y'all's mental wellness journey started. Kind of, and we got a little glimpse. So definitely, if you want to go last and kind of, share your story and how you got there, and we can go to Brenten next, and share that. But yeah, definitely curious to hear about this.
Yeah, all of y'all have really great stories. You know,
True.
Just amazing past.
Wait, real quick. How old were you when you answering your question? How old were you when you started that?
Oh, like about 23, 24.
Yeah, I feel like these crises happen in my life at different points. You know, where there are moments of overt emergency. There was one that happened at 25. There was one that happened at 28. There is one that is happening now. You know,
Current station.
Situation. So but I think like what really
is beautiful, man. No matter how many times.
Exactly, and I'm learning to appreciate that. Thank you. But the moment that I really like became present with my journey, because it's like crisis happen, but like when you become present,
you deal with it different,
and you deal with it when you become one with your body. You're like, oh, this you here. You're here. And I think I was 29, and I was working as a youth director at a church. And y'all know I always talk about my faith, how that's a big deal to me. Like that was totally crashed because my faith community was taken away from me. The things that I had, like the way that I was doing spiritual relationship was more rooted in religion. So it really burned a lot of my foundation and a lot of my views. And so not only were my views and like my faith was tarnished, but also like my community was gone. And my job was gone. My well-being was gone. I had nothing.
So you lost everything.
I lost everything. And it was at that point where it's like, okay, you feel like you about to die. And so that's when like like yoga started, or like those, like a lot of what I've built and what I've created has come out of nothing, and me feeling like me losing everything. And so the journey has been beautiful. I will tell y'all and everybody listening, anything that we talk about on this podcast, I know for me, I wouldn't trade it, because it has made me so strong and so tenacious. And it really gave me a sense of like, don't, do not. If you know like I know, don't. And so the journey has been beautiful. It's been beautifully hard, and it's still beautifully hard. It's beautiful, but it's hard as hell. And so it started at 25, but I got present right before I turned 30.
Yeah, so kind of the same.
Yeah.
I started around 23, 24, but really locked into it around 27-ish.
Yeah,
so.
right. I guess we like all pretty much the same experience.
I'd say that's really about the same as well. I think 25. So when I was in the military, they sent me to rehab because I got a possible DUI up in New York. I say possible because when you go through anything in civil or in civilian world, you also have to go through actual stuff in the military world.
I was about to ask.
Double whammy.
I was about to be like, what's a possible DUI?
Right.
So in the courts, I didn't get a DUI.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I got a traffic infraction. Right?
Okay.
But
God loves you.
ish. I mean, I guess.
He said
Ish.
Ish.
we not throwing no ish on the Lord's name.
Like this. I mean, he does because the position I was in, I could have, not been here today. You
It
feel
could have
me?
been
So,
worse.
Yes, it could have easily been worse, but I don't mean it like it wasn't because of the break on the
Okay.
the
Okay.
the whatever I got. You know what I mean? Not that I don't agree with that part. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
it's because I was in New York and
Yeah, it was a bad situation.
exactly. But that I put myself in, so I guess I'm kind of a knucklehead, and so I ended up.
It happens.
Yeah, getting kicked out of the military, but before they kick you out, they send you to rehab, right? So that they
Really?
yeah, if you got in trouble for any of those things like drugs or alcohol, so that
You never told us this story. Thank you for go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
that was 2018. So
Okay.
when I went to rehab, I went and I saw all these different kind of ways of healing, right? Ways of talking to people I was watching the people that was around me for sure, because I'm a people watcher and I like to understand and figure out why people do stuff. And for me, more of them was like looking at them like, why y'all in here for the fifth time? Like, you know what I mean? And so like that's really I was understanding people on that level, right? But then I was also looking at the doctors and the certified people that was helping us. And one of the ladies that was really involved with us for most of the days, she had a therapy dog. And she was really, really sweet. And I remember it was like halfway or almost. I almost was about to leave, because it was in house. If you know what that means, it's I stayed there for like 30 days. But anyways, she was. I think it was like almost like to the end, and she had told me that she had a drug problem. I was like, what? Not at that time, right? But she had gone through her own journey, but you would never have thunk it. She was super skinny, white lady, just really soft and really loving, but I guess hippie. Like, I was like, oh, dang, that makes more sense now.
missed it.
You know what I mean? I totally missed it, right? But I think right around that time, I was like, this is what I want to do. Right, just love on people, bring people together in support group fashions. She would read us an affirmation every morning. Right, and so you're talking about 25.
Did that inspire your cards?
It didn't, not at all, actually. So it's funny because some of the things that just come to me in different times, they're kind of connected, and I'll be like, oh, that's kind of what probably inspired that in me. You know what I mean? Like The Breakfast Club, where they're like all misfits and stuff. That's like one of my favorite white movies. And then like, I'm sorry I say it like that, but yeah.
It's a dope movie,
Y'all
though.
know what I mean? It is. But just them being all misfits. And I was like, oh, these are the things that inspire me. But so that kind of started my mental wellness journey because it was up in Connecticut and we were able to rock climb and do all these different things. It was a military. People were active duty and veterans, but they were going there for rehab. And the way they would get people involved in like their own healing journey was to take people out rock climbing, take people out. Like if y'all know the stuff where you can like connect and slide
Zip line.
a little bit of zip lining. We would hiking and it was just all these different things to get your mind off of like the crap. Right, of the world just in general, right? Because that's usually why people use or misuse, right? And so that started it. And then, like I said, I'm a knucklehead, so all of that went away after I actually left and stuff. I wasn't doing all the crazy stuff. I did learn some stuff. Like that's when I stopped drinking alcohol in 2018. I haven't drank since because I realized I appreciate it. I realized I didn't need it. I don't. And so when I finally turned 27, something else happened, and I don't know if I'm ready to share that stuff yet. On here yet, but to where I had to look at myself, and really figure out who I am and what do I want to do and what do I want to become and you know what I mean and like and so somewhere along the lines from high school and 25 to 27, I kind of lost the fun of being me and just living, you know what I mean, because I was a provider. I started being a dad and a husband, being in the military. all these different things that kind of shifted who I was because I was just providing. So to wrap it right back up, about 2.5 to 3 years ago, I went to school for psychology and started thinking about it, and I started hiking. One of the mental wellness things I did, listening to my body, it was one of the biggest things, listening to the universe, the world, the nature. And so those things actually really was very helpful in my mental health and mental wellness journey. So
Word.
You touched on it. You took us on a journey.
yeah, that's kind of, you had to feel it.
And just so you know, if and when you're ever ready to share that, there's the space for it.
Yeah,
but
of
if
course,
you're not, this is also the space for that too.
Oh yeah,
so,
I don't know if I'm ready to share with everybody else, but I'll share with y'all.
That's fine. But yeah, let's go ahead, man. Let's go ahead and hear what got you started on your mental wellness journey and what you know what that looked like.
What it looked like is survival.
Mm-hmm.
Straight out the gate. We're just now kind of figuring out what mental health is, but throughout life, I could tell you, as being born and being Jamaican, you know what I'm saying, coming and living in America, that's survival. You're taught a whole nother ball game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So as a child, you don't, I'm 36. I don't know what mental health is as a young kid.
At all.
So
they think you crazy.
Right. So mental health really just kicked in now as a term. But survival instincts is what gets you to this point. That's what got me where I'm at.
You said immigrant parents from Jamaica.
Yeah.
Where did they settle at?
I'm here.
Oh, here in Virginia?
They started in Jersey, New York.
Okay, I was about to say, you got that accent. That's why I asked.
Yeah, no, we started in New Jersey and came down here.
Okay. My parents too, Jersey.
Yeah, see? Up north, Brick City. But it's real. You know, you're taught everything is literally survival. Like you go through these struggles. You're not accustomed to, like, the regular things to you that's normal. When you go to see other friends and families is when you realize, oh, y'all don't eat dinner at 8 o'clock, at 9 o'clock. I eat dinner at 9 o'clock. 6 o'clock dinner is weird to me. Like, I've never heard of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not washing dishes and telling your mom what you go. Like, that's weird. I don't know what that is. I can't do that in my house.
Yeah.
If my mom say we about to eat rice and chicken, it's rice and chicken tonight. If it's just chicken with no rice, it's
if it's rice with ketchup,
right. We gonna make it like it's survival tactics. And as a child, you don't know that. You just know that this is the best thing in the world. You know what I'm saying? And so like now it's kind of made light of like, oh, what a poor man's meal is. Back in the day, that was, if it was sausage on the bread, listen,
bro,
that was
heaven.
everything.
Great. Oh God.
Great.
I grew up off of bully beef and rice. If you don't know what bully beef and rice is, that's literally like Spam and rice.
Oh, wow.
With great seasoning and onions. And I promise you, you eat it like it's steak dinner.
Bro, salami and rice and ketchup, eggs and rice.
Right.
The whole
so,
nine.
there are things that I've witnessed, that I've seen, that have made me adjust, you know, to not want to do. You know what I'm saying? We all grow up in different environments. I happen to be fortunate enough to grow up in a lot of different environments. Like, I grew up around the world, seeing different cultures, studying different cultures as a child. So, like, I could tell you in my young days, I was studying, you know, Greek philosophy, Egyptian philosophy, watching, you know, Chinese kung fu movies and studying discipline from a young age and applying it. You know what I'm saying? We're 90s kids, so we grew up understanding what a Michael Jordan mentality was and seeing that along the same lines of seeing, you know, Allen Iverson. You know what I'm saying? So we grew up with the mentality of seeing both. Like, we got the best of everything. What internet was, what internet wasn't. You know what I'm saying? To seeing what the effect of somebody putting a comment at the bottom of your MySpace might do to you. You know what I'm saying? Having a different phone, like all of those different survival tactics of having what's the latest thing. Not understanding, like, yo, you don't need that. Having 3 cell phones just to have it, having the Nextel page, like, these are all survival things that we grew up witnessing and wanting to do. You know what I'm saying? We wanted to have the big money. We wanted to have the gold chain. We wanted to be the dope boy for no reason, have the extra big white T-shirt because it was the cool thing to have. And then it switched for me. Death is what made me really find mental health. I lost my cousin. I tried to save a man's life that was dying in my arms. I pulled 7 people out of a car that were gonna die. That changed everything for me, and this is 2 years ago. No, this is within the last 5 years. That changed everything for me, and I'm a father with the kids. You know what I'm saying? You're not prepared for these things. There's no one to say to you, well, yeah, this is when death comes at you. This is what it's gonna look like. This is how you should feel. Like, no. You can't tell me how I'm going to feel about that. There's no preparation. Everything that I ever gone through in life, I kept the same face. Like, I'm good. I will survive. Because that's all I know is survival tactics. But as I got older, I started to realize, like, you really got to let it out.
Yeah.
You got to either talk about it, express yourself in a different way, write it down, go for a walk. Dealing with kids is a release for me. Giving back to the communities is giving back to the community, to me, is the biggest thing in the world. Like, it's cool to be the cool guy on the block. It's even better to be the band that's controlling the block.
Yeah.
Not through drugs, but through your involvement in the community.
Word.
There's no greater power than walking into a building and everybody knowing who you are and loving you genuinely for who you are, without having to have a dollar come out of your pocket.
Yep.
Like, that to me matters, being able to walk into the community that they say, oh, well, you can't walk in there. And walking out like, this is your area.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I grew up in Virginia Beach. I've been in Chesapeake. I've been in Norfolk. I've been in Hampton. I've been in Suffolk. Been in Portsmouth. Like, there's nowhere I haven't been. But there's people in all of these cities that I can connect with. And I do whatever is possible inside me to do so, because I realized when COVID hit, we lost the communication with everybody. We lost how to connect. We lost how to feel. And it forced a lot of people to have to face reality. Why is your relationship not working? You got to face that. Why don't your kids deal with this? You got to face that. Am I a good parent? I got to face it.
Every day, too.
Right. Because there's no going anywhere. You're in the house. You can't go to the store. You couldn't even get fresh air. If you stepped outside, somebody was going to call the cops. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's crazy.
But COVID showed me that kids have no outlet. Imagine if you're the child that's at an abusive home. You can't get out of that. And there's no one to save you.
Yeah.
Imagine you're the kid that's told no 24/7. Who's going to tell you yes? And now imagine the flip side of that. Well, all you're told is yes. You have no idea what structure is, having to critically think, having to do anything, because all you're told is yes. So you have two different ends of the spectrum with no guidance.
And you've been able to
And
coach
both
and
dangerous.
teach both.
Right. So I walk into both lifestyles, both rooms, both households, and still have the adaptability and that relatability to both the parents and the kids. And I don't know what it is inside of me that the Lord blessed me with, but it's just the ability to be able to connect the dots and to figure it out and how to pivot in those rooms. Because once I walk into those rooms and I speak to the parents and say, well, look, this is, you already see these red flags. And if you saw another child do it, you'd be like, oh, that child can't do that around mine. But that be your child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now your child got to understand how to connect these dots with this kid over here. And so I like to mix the pot, put everybody in the same room together from different areas, different cities at all times.
That's a skill too, because I'm a coach as well, and I deal with kids too. So being able to talk to the parents is a whole nother skill from being able to relate and teach the kids.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I'm listening.
You talk about, you touch on it a little bit in your journey. You talk about grief a bit and losing people throughout that journey. As you were talking, I was thinking that, hey, there are a lot of people that are actually dealing with grief right now. And grief does bring a lot of people to that journey and to that point. And it doesn't have to be a physical death. It could be, there are many different forms of death.
Right.
You could be grieving, parents that are alive, but not necessarily in your life. What would you tell somebody on that journey that's experiencing grief, based off of just, your experience? And I'm noticing with a lot of black men, the rate at which we lose people
is very high.
And the rate at which we see death
very high.
Is very, very high.
My best advice is don't become numb to it. Like a lot of times, and I say this openly to a lot of people, as a young black man, you're not told a few things, and it starts your entire life, and you're not showed them very often. Love, grief, and genuine. As a young black man, you're not taught those things. They might have shown you it, but when you watch a movie, you only know love based upon what? Buying it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make your woman feel happy? By buying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not showing her who you genuinely are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just rare.
Yeah.
Grief. Suck it up. It's going to be okay. That's what we told.
What you crying for?
Literally, what are you crying for? You got to be a man. So you're told that from a young age till you get older. It's not really until you get older that you're like, wow, this is not real.
I See You, Bro is brought to you by the Can Foundation. The Can Foundation is an arts nonprofit organization founded by artists for artists.
The Can is dedicated to building sustainable careers for the creative class through artist development, arts education, and public art projects.
By creating a community, they empower artists, foster creativity, and contribute to the sustainable growth of the artistic ecosystem at large. To learn more about the Can Foundation, visit their Instagram, Contemporary Arts Network, or their website at thecontemporaryartsnetwork.com.
You said something earlier about a release. Like, that's really when the healing and the mental wellness
That's when it starts.
That's why I started at 27 versus 25 for me, because I was learning to heal.
Right. It's real.
But you had to release.
From here, I gathered some similarities between us all.
Mm-hmm.
When the mental wellness journey started for us,
Mm-hmm.
is a different age than when we really started to.
Face
I
it.
wouldn't say like
Work with
like
it.
like
Actually,
work
that's
with
what
it,
it is.
implement it into our lives daily, see the fruit of the seed that you know what I'm saying, that we
Yeah.
planted years ago. But also another similarity was, and I have it written down. It's like, it seems like from each of our own journeys, what brought us to, I guess, start that journey, led us on our mental wellness journey. I mean, led us on another one to where it seems like we want to help people who may or may not be going through those same things. You know, we can't stop it if they're going through those same things, but we can create the spaces, the events, the businesses, the foundations to at least let them know that they're not alone, and at least provide an outlet for them that we might not have had
Right.
when we started our journeys.
That's the whole goal, is to be able to create, and I don't like to use the word safe space, because it's an environment. We all live in an environment. So we create an environment that people can come in and be themselves. A lot of times we're stuck trying to hide or mask who we are at some way, stage, or point. Even if it's with your best friend, at some point you've had a mask on with your best friend and not kept it 100.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So in an environment where you feel capable to do so, you're going to be your most genuine self.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't realize what that is until you become older. That's why I said the last one is being genuine.
Mm-hmm.
So once you really start to find out who you are by loving yourself, that's where the love comes from. Being vulnerable comes from, like being genuine. It comes from internally, and then it shows itself outward. And whenever a man finds that within himself, that's where everything for him starts to change. And he starts to shed the fears, the guilt, the grief, the pressures. Because that's when life is at its most purest for that man. Because he's now realized everything that I went through necessarily wasn't my fault or my circumstance or the burden for me to bear. But I carried it with me because I didn't have any other way, and no one taught me otherwise. So now we understand that. And now when we have these conversations with other people, we know that look.
Yeah.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? We know, like, we can relate in that moment. Like, yo, you're a good hooper, but think about this. Like, you know, and Gilbert Arenas said this in an interview one day, and it blew my mind. It was real. It was like, yo, you know, if you play in the game, you're going to miss shots. Why are you getting mad if you miss? Like, you're never going to go 100 for 100. You're never going to go 20 for 20. So why are you mad you miss a shot in practice? That's what you're practicing for.
Right.
Like, one of the things I tell kids all the time is, like, you're here to train. You make a mistake, I'm happy, because that's what you're here for. And I don't care if you make a mistake. You're not here to be perfect. Let me make you a better player. It's just like we all sit in a room to make people better by hearing what their faults are, what their errors are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, because we can relate to it and help point them in a better direction, because we've gone through so many different things.
Oh, that's good.
We can tap and pinpoint into so many different other lessons, and things that we've gone through experience, because it's life. Every day is a new experience. Like, yo, the minute I get a chance to be above ground, my 10 toes get to touch the floor the next day, I'm already thankful.
Yeah.
Because there's people that don't get that opportunity, that have less. And trust me, we complain about life sometimes, but it could be a lot worse.
A lot
Yeah,
worse.
even when I complain nowadays, I'm like, even with all that, I'm still grateful. Like, I make sure to express gratitude, because I'm pretty sure y'all feel the same way. As like, the moments or anything that I could complain about today, at one point I prayed to be exactly where I'm at.
That word right there, prayed. That's it. We all get down on our knees at some point and say, listen, Lord, I promise you,
boy,
give me one more chance.
Yeah.
Like, I need this opportunity to fall through.
Swear.
But he's shown us in those moments, though, like, what's for you and what's not for you. Because when he makes it for you, you grow abundantly.
And it's no denying that.
It's no denying it. But when it's not for you, he looks at how you react to that moment. Because it's either make or break. Because if he tells you, no, that's not for you, that's not the right time, sometimes you just got to take a step back and be like, you know what, you're right. Let me reassess and reevaluate. What could I have done better? What can I do about myself to be better? And once you do that, the blessing comes. And it's tenfold. But he's assessing us along the way. It's always an assessment of how you going to react. Like, trust me, the people that got the most money, they pay other people to do the jobs that they don't want to do. I've never seen a rich person sit there and say, I'm going to go do this for you. They be like, look, James, here's $10,000, go make that happen and bring it to him so then he can make whatever the next piece is happen. They're not sitting there saying, I'm going to go run and drive my car. No. They go get the next person to do it, and it gets done right there.
Immediately.
There's a reason why that person is anxious about whatever the task is. The most anxious person about the task, they're going to get it done because they know that pressure, that the room that they're trying to get into, they know what they're trying to do next, why they're being called upon. It's just as if any of you get called upon in that moment, you're like, all right, I got you. I know what you need. I know what to get done. And you're prepared for it. Trust me, there's a reason why once you start to excel in life, the pressure's no longer there. You look at a little situation that used to tick you off, it don't tick you off 2 months later.
Nope.
Because your mental space changes, your environment, your aura, it all changes. Because you're growing every day.
Let me ask you this, dude. And then I guess you guys can ask too. When's kind of like the first time you was able to talk to somebody about your mental health? Like maybe like a friend, because I know you talked about like having a facade when you're with some people, even if it's your close people, and kind of creating those not necessarily safe spaces, but genuine spaces for people to be themselves. When was the first time you was actually able to be yourself and talk about your mental health journey?
I honestly think it was the time. I can name a few moments. One of them was actually me and Tremaine had a conversation together. We were talking, and we had a deep, deep conversation, and I let him know what was going on. Another was with Dodie. Me and him had a really deep conversation, just about everything that was going on. And other than that, in all honesty, it was with myself. Like, at that time when all these things are happening, there wasn't people that I knew to talk to, but I had a conversation with myself. And I cried talking with myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I genuinely poured the tears out because I was just like, it's so much pressure. And I'm wearing the burden of everything on my shoulders. You know what I'm saying? And then I found, speaking publicly, when I went to city council and spoke about my cousin passing away, that was literally right there. That changed everything for me. And it never stopped from then, because I was already talking to her about the things that I was doing and filling her in because it was so important to me. And through her loss, changed the reason why I'm more involved. But
that's deep. I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of my answer too. Like, when I finally sat down to talk to myself and kind of like question myself, like, yo, like, who you want to be, man? It's way more than talking to somebody else, because like you said, there is that in the back of your head, do I want to tell them everything? And sometimes you don't even tell yourself everything because you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, true.
Because then when you hear it, you got to deal with it. So, but when I actually started dealing with the stuff in the back of my head, like, and listening to myself, that was the person I actually talked to first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then today I'm able to talk to everybody about it, right? Like, we're on this platform talking to everybody about it. But that's a real one right there.
Yeah.
To really think about it as myself.
That talking to yourself is shit.
Listen, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You will sit there I mean, we all end up having a conversation with ourselves, depending on where your mental strength is and how you push this muscle right here. That's the most powerful. But I had the conversation, and I was like, yo, I can't keep running from the issues in my past.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I can't keep running from what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, would I still love to be playing professional soccer? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Would I still love to be traveling? Would I still love to do all of these great things? Yes. Have I had disappointments? Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Setbacks? Hell yeah. Like, moments where I'm sitting there like, this is about to happen, and it goes south, and be like, this is not real.
Yeah.
And having to pivot. And be quite honest with you, once you start to face, disappointments, fears, and lessons, and understand, like, okay, it's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the end of the world. Like, it is not the end of the world, and we're only taught that it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once you hear it's over, it's like a fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if a girl tell you it's over, you like, all of a sudden your heart drop, like, damn, it's over for real?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you might have been waiting to break up with her.
Yeah, it's a different
You be like, yo, I've been trying to break up with you for 2 weeks, but you telling me it's over. It hurts my heart.
It's a smack different feeling.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Once you hear it's over, and as a man, it's like a different feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your throat is like, wait a minute, this ain't, but it's real, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? You don't get the job that you thought you were qualified for. It's what it is. What it is.
Yeah.
It's another job coming. It's how determined are you to want it, or you just gonna go back to the same old. You gonna relapse, or you gonna keep going?
Yeah.
Because we see what the relapse looks like around us. We see the same friends in the same position,
Yeah.
in the same rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh.
It ain't nothing changed.
That's the relapse. I'm gonna start calling it that.
It's the relapse, bro. For
There's
real.
the relapsers over there.
I remember the first time that I had that real conversation. It was with myself as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I verbatim said to myself, I said, "Do you believe?"
Oof.
What'd you say?
Right, exactly. I said, "Y'all annoying." Y'all also very dramatic.
Hey, do not cut that out.
Tremaine almost fell out from dropping. You choked too.
I did.
Okay, and I was really about to be really deep. All right, cool. A little comedy.
You got it.
A little comedy never hurt nobody. All right, so I remember the first conversation that I had, and I said, "Do you believe that your life still matters? Do you believe that your life is good enough to still fight for every single day? Do you believe that the rest of your life can be the best part of your life despite what has went down?" And that was the first time that I was really honest about with myself and with someone about the things that I had been through, the things that I had currently been suffering through. And I was like, "Oh yeah, you got to get some help. You have to start talking to people,
Yeah.
or you're going." I was already imploding, and it was going to begin to pour out. And based off of what I had seen around me, I could be one of those cases,
Right.
where I really do something crazy, and that's when I realized I needed to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Which I want to share the statistic really quickly, and then Eury, I want you to share as well. But the statistic is from the American Psychological Association. It was an article that they did in January of 2023. And it's a therapy statistic, and it says only 26.4% of Black and Hispanic men ages 18 to 24 who experience daily feelings of anxiety or depression were likely to have used mental health services. Only 25% of us. I bring that statistic up because it's like more of us need to be talking to somebody, and I know that is a taboo topic. And we're not really taught to actually share ourselves with people.
Mm-hmm.
But that me sharing myself and opening up and trusting people with the true me, it actually did some amazing things in my life. And I'm actually the person that I am today because of the people because of my vulnerability and opening myself up to people. And so I know that this is a scary topic for a lot of people listening. When we talk about sharing ourselves with people, because oftentimes, like y'all said, when we share ourselves with people, they will tell us that we shouldn't be crying, or they might take that information and use it in a very tough way. I've struggled with that in sharing some of the things up here on this podcast, but I will tell you that sharing those parts of you that people don't see. One, people love you more for it.
The right people do.
The right people do. But two, there's a strength that comes with it.
Yeah, because you're facing it.
Because you're facing it.
Being yourself.
Exactly.
There's so much power
It
in
is so
being
much
your genuine self.
And even like there's a quote like the strongest thing you can do as a man is ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think that was some sucker shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
But as I grew older, I understood like as a man, the hardest thing you can do is admit that you need some help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Second hardest thing is admitting that and going to find the help yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
When did you realize that, or when did you first share your, who you were, and kind of take off that mask with your friends and family?
I've tried several different times. I think I shared on the fetishizing episode about me like openly telling people about like why I was the way I was at that time, and people were like dismissive about it. So I kind of went into my own shell, like, all right, fuck y'all. I'm not gonna share nothing anymore, right? But you get to a point where you need to tell somebody. Like you're literally driving yourself crazy, or at least I was, right? And it started with me talking to myself, and really asking myself some of the same questions you were, Brenten, like do I care if I live or die? Like
yes.
I've accomplished things.
You got to ask.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've accomplished things that I'm not even happy for. Like people are congratulating me. I'm barely even cracking a smile. And it's just like, am I even happy? You know what I'm saying? Like why? Like I know I'm living. I'm here for a reason. Like I believe this for a long time, but I don't know what it is. I felt lost for a long time. And it started with me having those conversations with myself first. And uncovering some of those answers as to like, look, I'm not happy because of this. These things that happened, are my fault, and I have to take accountability for it and kind of grow from it and move forward, right? And just really realizing like where I am, where I want to be, and what I need to do to close that gap, right? Shortly after speaking, with myself, I started expressing it through other mediums, right? Like creating a clothing brand. Y'all have seen the logo. It's not a happy eye, it's an eye with a tear on it, right? So I started expressing myself through like different mediums, and then people. And when I started being around people that have gone through similar things, we don't all share the same trauma, but it is similar in a way, right? In some sense,
the same trauma feelings.
In some sense, right? So once I started getting around those spaces where it was a lot of openness, a lot of vulnerability, I saw that there was a lack, that there was a need for more space, because for the life of me, I couldn't find spaces like this, right?
Right.
Leads us to this here. But it took me taking that first step and asking myself those questions that I had been running from for such a long time, because once you ask yourself those questions, you now realize a lot of your life is the way it is because of you. And if you want to change that shit, you got to change you first.
Internal reflection.
Yeah, because it starts in here first, and your reality is, I would say, a depiction of how you are internally, how you're taking care of yourself internally. So yeah, it started with that. I would say self first. Then I tried to speak to a general audience about it in a sense. And then I went and found like communities and different groups of people. That's how I ended up meeting with y'all, right? So that's how I would say my journey went. It took a while for me to even want to express or share with other people, because I'm someone that doesn't like feeling like I'm putting burdens on people, right? So I much rather carry that myself and carry your burdens.
Unless they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, huh?
Yeah, then I'll be like, yeah.
But you
But
gotta step in there.
you know what I'm saying? But like, if I love you, I'm gonna step in, because I'm like, look, I'm not finna let you crash out like that, right? Like I can't. I'm not gonna sleep well knowing that I could have said something. But yeah, that's how it started for me, man. It was a progression, I would say, to even get to this place. Like, even you saw my content, I was speaking to a camera. Like, I was never really speaking to somebody, and then I started, and that's what started, like, the ideas for this and everything. So
yeah, you bring up a good point, Mars. Of course, we want to hear from you, but you bring up a good point in the sense of, like, a lot of people don't share because they feel like it'll be a burden to a lot of people.
yeah.
You know, and so finding the right people, and just like it's a difference between sharing and disclosing.
Yeah, it's two different things.
It's two different things. You could share a whole lot with your friends. That's easy, but you do need a place to disclose
Disclosing does
Information.
sound more-
information.
It's a difference.
Top, you get what I'm
More.
saying?
Right.
I gotta watch who I'm talking to.
And so again, just
like that word.
another charge to all the fellas out there, everybody, to like find somebody to talk to. Like, and I know it feels hard.
But we do. I don't mean to cut you. And I think people find someone. What happens is they either lose that person or that person gets taken away in different ways. Because a lot of times we enter relationships, right, with someone, with a significant other who might not like that person or be prepared themselves for the person that you do go to disclose your information to. So now you no longer have that relationship because your partner doesn't want that relationship.
Right.
So the person who you used to go to, you can't go to anymore.
Go to no
so now
more.
you're trying to do it with your partner. And a lot of times, and as men, when we get in relationships with anyone, we expect that person to then kind of be our person because we had to give up everything else. And so when we go to bear that disclosure to them, it comes back on us unless we're still with that person over longevity.
Dang, that's real tough.
And a lot of times when you do that with your spouse, you're expecting it to be, you my person, I'm supposed to be able to tell you. But then it comes back at you.
Yeah.
They end up, and at some point they say something that you told them to, like, they're supposed to keep sacred. And you give them this look like,
What's up?
so this is what, you just did that. Like, you know what that means to me. And for you to say that, it changes the whole entire relationship. And so you try to forget that moment, but you never do. And you no longer communicate the same with them.
And that's the same reason why a lot of times men, especially black men, we
Don't trust.
and we're more step back when we try to
Survival.
disclose
Survival when it comes to disclosure.
Yeah.
Because we know, we already think
Can't
the
show
feds
all your
is-
cards, man.
Not all the
Can't-
cards,
Yeah.
We already think the feds is watching us 24/7.
and showing all the one, leaving one not shown is very vulnerable to us.
Exactly.
That's crazy to
Yeah.
even show that many.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So we keeping everything tucked in for that reason, because we're like, yo, you supposed to be my person, and I can't tell you. I can't tell my mom. Can't tell my pops for real. Probably can't tell my brothers for real. So who the hell am I really gonna tell?
That's some real stuff.
And whoever your best friend is usually gets taken away, and you can't get that same relationship back because of the person that you end up with. Because at some way, shape, or form, that person's gonna say, "Well, y'all too close,"
Yeah.
and it's never the case. It's just that's the person who I disclose information to. And if you want me to be the person that you love, give me that.
Give me some space.
I will say though, we do have options,
There are
right? Because
options,
we
yeah.
did name
True.
like ways to express yourself. If it's sports, if it's arts, if it's music, whatever it is, and that way you can express a little bit of how you're feeling. That can help.
Always.
you find communities of people like-minded or people willing to open and have that disclosure with you, right? Or just going to spaces. For me, it was going, seeking opportunities in spaces. I knew people would be speaking the same language as me, right? Like I would go up there, I wouldn't look crazy for speaking about what I'm speaking about. And that is how I figured, right, that I'd find the right people to communicate with. And it worked, right, for me.
Fair.
But there's a lot of different things that we can do to start expressing ourselves, even if it's just talking with ourselves first, to get comfortable with those uncomfortable questions and that accountability, and then putting ourselves in those places around the people that foster the type of growth you're looking for, right? That allow you to be vulnerable like you need to be, and you know, you can reciprocate that with them as well. So we do have options, but I do understand your point though, because what you talked about can literally happen in your, like, one of your first relationships,
Right.
and for men, I don't know about y'all, we get heartbroken first grade, we go on this path
Darkness.
for like the next 20 years of healing and understanding, right? But to say, it's like when we go through things, it's we're put in positions to not trust. We're put in positions to put these walls up and be very guarded, right? Very early on, and
Immediately.
a lot of our influence, not even influence, but a lot of what we see doesn't tell us anything different.
Right.
There's rap songs about your best friend doing you dirty. There's movies about, you know what I'm saying? So it's all these things that keep you so high on alert, so vigilant, so anxious that we don't even think to be vulnerable with somebody, no matter how close we are.
It don't
If
matter.
you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
Like,
you talk
why, like, you feel me? Like, that's crazy. But
to your point though, you know, like you said, to find rooms, it's funny because when you're an athlete, like I made it all this to professional ranks in sports, you face that every day. Like, and in sport, it's like, imagine you're the guy on the bench that's not starting, but you breaking everybody down every day in practice, and you don't get your opportunity, but the coach still's giving you minutes. You do something with your minutes, but you're like, yo, I need to be starting. Like, I'm doing more. Give me that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get your chance, you do your thing, and it's like, all right, somebody else values me more than what you do. So then you get caught in a position.
Yeah.
Do I stay or do I go? You know what I'm saying? But you ended up talking to your teammates like, yo, what can I do to be better? You start talking to the vets, what can I do to be better? And they telling you like, yo, you could do this, you could do this, you could work harder. And you're like, all right, I'm going to go try that. You know what I'm saying? But it's a mental game.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about that?
I'm listening.
Because I'm glad you brought that up.
But before you do that,
good.
I want to hear from you, because you never told us what it looked like for you to begin to trust people and to begin to open up, and what your journey looked like.
I'll tell you this. I had to find the spaces. I had to create the spaces. You have to create the spaces. Once you sit and finally listen to yourself and talk to yourself and answer your questions and try to problem solve, one of the biggest things you're going to have to realize is that you put yourself in positions to succeed. You put yourself in positions to grow. We're not plants.
Right.
We don't have to wait on somebody else to fertilize us. You know what I mean? We don't have to hope our seed fell in a nice spot to get all the nourishment we need, right? We can actually move to the spot that has sunlight. We can actually, so when I really realized that in talking to myself and did a lot of releasing that we talked about earlier, that's kind of how, when I started trusting people and when I started creating my own spaces and saying, like, when I'm asking you, my sports locker rooms is not the place. I can't talk to these people. These veterans really ain't gonna give me a leg up, because now I'm gonna have their job.
Right.
These other people that want to see me winning just enough to say I'm in their circle and to gloat that I'm in their circle, but not want to see me winning, you know, a little higher than them. You feel me? So realizing that
even amongst other men, sometimes.
Oh no, that's exactly what I'm getting at. You know, when in those circles where they're talking about women, money, and just making fun of you to get a leg up in that
The
conversation.
bullshit.
You know, the
Yeah.
bullshit. Nothing of growth, nothing of fertilizer, right?
Right.
As you're a plant. And so when I'm noticing that this ain't serving me, I can move. So
Right.
I just started moving.
It
and
don't
that's-
matter what
that's
it
kind of
is.
how it looked like for me.
Okay.
Thanks for doubling back. You know, I'm glad y'all want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me as a one thing I was getting into in my journey of podcast and Misfit Talk, some of y'all go check that out on my Instagram. But I was trying to get into sports mental health, right?
Yes.
So I really want to ask you as an international footballer, that is actual football, not Americano football for everybody listening in, the one you play with your feet. Soccer for you ignorants, but
Oh my gosh.
but hey,
He put it
we're
out there.
educating. But yeah, so and how is, because like I said, football is way more international, and you played on international levels. How is it addressed, if at all, and how is it amongst the stars, the athletes in that locker room? Can you see them working on theirs?
In all honesty, no. It's a mentality. Like, the crazy thing about it is once you become a professional athlete, and the reality is your mind is by far stronger than a normal person. And the reason why I say that is because the pain that you feel, that you go through day to day, hour to hour, second to second, is truly mental.
Mm-hmm.
And your brain becomes numb to a lot of things. Your emotions, your depth changes so much because you become a machine because you're training yourself to go past a normal threshold.
I felt like that in the military.
No,
Oh,
it's
easily. They
for
definitely
sure
make us like that there.
because it's your whole time growing up is a discipline. So you become so disciplined that you will not touch. If I'm your coach and I tell you don't walk past that camera, you're not gonna walk past that camera. But if anybody else tells you, you're gonna knock the camera down. It's that kind of like different level of discipline of like waking up at 4 a.m. to go work out and then doing practice. And then after practice doing another workout, like literally working upon working. Saying that you're going to go take 500 shots every single day just to make one in a game. So your mental capacity is so high and your threshold of like pain and like torture is different.
That's crazy. So you're like always technically at war in a different,
You're in a
different concept because you're
different
trying
state
to fight
of
for
mind.
stuff. But so you're telling me that most of the time, if there's nothing implemented like specifically for the players in the mental wellness realm,
There's nobody going to go see it.
y'all have to seek.
You do it on our own. And a lot of
not
times
many are
you're
doing it.
Yeah, a lot of times that's why you see that's why like the cannabis in sports now is so much higher. That's why all these athletes are asking for it.
Because they're using
Because when they were growing up, that was their way of release. And that's why like they're saying, yo, we need weed.
Something.
We
Shit.
need weed. But that's reason why was because it calms them down so much to have conversation.
it's a quicker fix with less time. To
Right.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. If you look at most receivers' hands or linemen's hands, their fingers are either leaning to the right
Boy.
or to the left.
bro.
I seen fingers, boy, 90
Right.
degree angles, dog.
So-
you said this way.
Right. And now think about that.
Yeah.
That person has been dealing with that for years. You know what I'm saying? Having to get their finger snapped and broken back again. If I break your finger right now, you're going to cry and complain for 3 days straight, like maybe a week longer. Oh, my finger broke. That person already got their finger broken in the game and going right back in.
They got them shots though. They got
Yeah,
them,
that boy
they got
Kobe.
them
That boy
shots, though.
Kobe.
It don't
Dislocated
matter.
his joints, got it
They're
back.
still going through a
pop
certain
back
trauma.
in.
The body's
Right.
Yeah.
It's all
And
mental.
yeah.
It's all mental. If you look at like guys who played got knee pads on. Imagine I'm having to walk around with 6 bags of ice on my knee just to get up and get to the shower.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So the mental of what athletes go through, it's not normal. You train hard every day for one little moment. And it's not sorry to say a little moment, but for one moment?
Yeah, that's what it is.
No, but it's true because you're practicing literally all week. If you have one game, you're playing 90 minutes in that game. If you score one goal, it might have taken you about 2
And
seconds
that's
to kick
if
that goal
You
in.
played the whole game too.
Right. So you feel me?
Imagine the cat they got subbed in and subbed off.
Yeah.
Boy, hours upon hours of work for 2 seconds.
So
2 seconds.
this is one thing I love asking, and like pro athletes. It's like, do you believe that they need to do more mental health for that player?
I think it would have to start at a younger age.
And
you
how would
can't
that
start it at the professional ranks and expect it to be
player position.
Because if you start it at a younger age, it now allows kids, as they go through the maturity of it, to understand exactly what's really going on. So, like,
I had one for you. Then answer is in this. How do you do it as a coach for the younger? How do you implement mental wellness?
I talk to them, like, seriously. Like, I have everyday life conversations with them. Like, yo, what's going on? Talk to me. What can we do to make you better? Like, what's stopping you from getting to where you want to go? And we'll literally talk about it. It'll be the first part of training is the mental. Word. And then we dive in, and I'm just reinforcing everything that they need to hear. So by the time day one is done for that hour with me, that confidence or that lack of that they thought they had is no longer there. And once they show it, boom, it's already broken. So now that confidence in their spirit is risen. After that, the second session comes, boom, that confidence is already there. So now we just really tooling. So then after the second session, boom, we on to the third one. I've already given you the confidence that you needed to be successful. And you've done it 3 days in a row now. So now when you go out there, that's it.
Confidence is literally what you've done in the past, like what you've done before.
I spent, and I'm sure you can attest to this, as a coach, a tumble coach, I'm trying to get people to believe in flipping. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Throwing your body weight back and up and all this, right? And so I can spend months physically teaching somebody how to, and helping them. But as soon as you take 10 minutes or 15 minutes to teach them about themselves and confidence, none of that other stuff mattered. None of the physical growth, none of it. They zoom past it with that mental. That's why mental wellness, and that's why I ask it about in sports, because if they were able to do it like how you're doing it at a younger age.
If they started at a younger age, it would be a lot easier. And the reason why I said it is because it would be best now to be implemented. Because you're looking at kids getting recorded and having highlight tapes for the world to see at like 8 years old. You're signing an NIL deal pretty much in middle school. You know what I'm saying? So, like, imagine you're telling a high school freshman, this kid is, let's just say, 6'8", 315 pounds. He is now going to be the #1 lineman in the U.S. This kid's a sophomore. What do you think he's going to do for the next 2 years?
He got math class at 10 a.m.
Bro, math class? He probably don't even know how to read or write. So now the school is obligated to make sure that this kid makes it to a point, and you might have a teacher that be like, nah, he can't read. Then you start to hear these different reports. Then every team that faces this kid or every person that sees this kid from another school is attacking him now. So people don't understand like what comes with it. If you're a young point guard and you're nice at like 10 years old and you go to all these AAU tournaments, there's somebody coming to knock you off. How do you handle that? Or if you was the best 11-year-old soccer player and you're no longer good at 12 years old. Those are the conversations that people don't have and wonder why kids stop playing sports. It's not that they want to stop playing the sport. It's the pressure that comes with it because there's no room for them. You can take them to a regular therapist. A regular therapist can't answer a question about kicking a ball that they do every single day. That therapist doesn't kick that ball.
The individual sports therapy is way...
It's different. Any of us in here that do anything on a consistent basis, if you take somebody out of that world that don't know what you're talking about, it's hard to relate. So you're still on guard in that room. Like, you're a regular therapist. You're not going to feel my pain. My dad makes me take 100 shots in the morning and another 200 after class. Are you prepared to tell my father I can't take these 200 shots? No, you not. Because he going to look at you and say, he's still going to do them.
He going to make me do 400 now.
Right. And I'm going to get a whooping. You know what I'm saying? But it's the reality that as a child, you're already building up this capacity of like threshold of pain. What more can I do? You got a ball that's bigger than you, but you're still trying to throw this three-pointer. Why are you shooting a three-pointer from half court? You can't dribble the ball, but you want to throw the ball from half court. The Steph Curry effect is real.
I See You, Bro is brought to you by City Center at Oyster Point. Discover the peninsula's best-kept secret at City Center at Oyster Point in Newport News. Experience their growing culinary scene with new restaurants such as Satay and Amaro Italian Bistro, or grab small bites at Tinto Wine and Cheese.
City Center regularly hosts events like free fitness classes, open mic night at Cure Coffee, and Latin dance night at Salsa's Mexican Grill. You can even treat yourself to some self-care at the Eyelash and Eyebrow Bar, or catch a movie at Cinemark. There's also the Contemporary Arts Network Gallery a haven for art enthusiasts.
City Center isn't just a hotspot. It is the up-and-coming foodie paradise and Peninsula's best-kept secret. Whether you're going out for date night or family-friendly fun, City Center is the gym you've been looking for. Stop by and discover why City Center at Oyster Point in Newport News is your perfect destination for any occasion. For more information, check out their website, citycenter@oysterpoint.com, or give them a follow at citycenter@oysterpoint.
I wanted to ask, man, that was a good segue. Your father, how many kids?
How many of us?
Yeah.
It's 4 of us.
Okay.
Or am I me being my father or my actual
No,
father?
no. You said you're a father.
Oh, yeah, I'm a father too.
Father too? Okay. All boys,
Now
boy,
I got
girl?
my son Justice and my daughter Evie.
Okay. They
10 and 6.
10 and 6. Okay. All right. So, yeah, you've been in the game for a little bit, man.
Absolutely.
I say this because I have a 3-year-old myself. Emotional intelligence, mental wellness, some practices are very important for me to expose him to early. He's 3. I don't expect him to get up in the morning and meditate every morning with me. But there are days where he comes in and asks to meditate and take 10, 20 deep breaths with me, right?
Right.
So for me, it's very important to implement that early. Like you said, it has to start early so they can build that threshold as they get older. For you as a father, what were some of the practices or what were some of the things that you did with your kids to kind of help build up their emotional intelligence or help them overcome, maybe some anxieties that they may be going through or anything of that nature?
Patience. I teach them to be patient, and I talk to them very, open. Like, if anything is going on, I tell them, like, this is exactly what it is. This is what's about to happen. This is what it is going forward. Like, I'm very open with them. But also, they see me, and I'm a very big catalyst for them. So once I tell them, like, be confident, they going to be confident. Like, the words don't live around me. So coming out the womb, they already know they can't even say that word. They can't even think of it.
Yeah, we expelling that word in my house right now.
Yeah, like can't doesn't exist. You just didn't try it yet. Because the minute you put can't into them, they stop everything. The food they could eat the same meal every day. You just change how the meal look for 1 minute, and I can't eat that.
I can't eat that. Yep.
And you just had this yesterday. It just looks on a different plate. I can't eat it.
We literally just went through this yesterday. So
and I'm telling you, the word can't, it just doesn't exist. Yeah. So for me, that like one of the biggest things is just being patient. Like, talk to your kids through the situation. We were raised based upon do as I say. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with it to an extent, but also have the conversation. I'm not saying you got to talk them through everything. Sometimes you can be short with them and direct. Like, listen, this is just what it is. All right, homie, we good.
It ain't. Some things aren't for them at that age.
Exactly.
And it's for us to discern, right?
Exactly. It's for us to decide exactly. But if they have a question, hear what their question is. Even if it could be something silly, like just hear them out for the quick second. That's all they want to do, just be heard. You know what I'm saying? But I stay patient with them. I stay, open, and I allow them to be them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't restrict them to, like, I give them their own fashion sense so they get to dress themselves early. Like, pick your outfit out. Let me see where your style at. Like, my man, we not wearing them shoes. Like, that can't go on today. Baby girl, that dress is not the right size. We gonna figure it out, though. Like, go ahead and grab another outfit, and they'll come back.
Yeah.
All right, that'll work. Make sure you clean those off real quick. That'll work. You good. But it's just being open with them. Don't belittle them, because their mind is moving at a different rate than ours.
Way faster.
But
way faster.
They are in a generation of learning that we can't comprehend. And what the world is to them, it is not the same to us. We can't go back and forth about an app because they have the app on them at 3 months old. They can break your passcode in 10 seconds, I promise you. They can see it 2 times.
Bro.
I promise you. They can crack your... Done. The same way how you see them in the computer like this and all of a sudden push the enter button and everything work. That's your kids. But you just got to be patient with them, man. Like, once you're patient with them, as they get older, they assess things differently. And the more you remind them to think, I always listen to my kids, think about it before you say it. Think about it before you do it. Like, be aware of what you're saying and what's going on. Like, yeah, your sister's annoying you, but guess what? You want somebody else to talk to your sister like that? No, then you don't talk to her like that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bug your brother if you know you don't want the reaction. Like, you poking a bear. Love him. Cool. Get him
using their brains.
right. Give him space. It's okay for him to want some space. It's okay when you want some space, because when he starts to annoy you, you want to get your iPad and do your thing. You can't be mad at that. He can't be mad at you. But you got to use this, because one thing that we're not taught is how to use our brain. We just taught to react. And kids today are only reacting. They're not thinking. It's literally all reactionary, because there's no one really saying to them, like, think about it before you do it. Imagine every, mass shooting that you see this kid that's doing it. You think, did anybody ever say to him, like, let's sit down and talk for a second? He's giving you signs, or she's giving you signs. But they were never taught patience. You know what I'm saying? They're never thought to, like, think it all the way through.
Yeah.
Everything is visual for these kids today. Over the last 20 years, everything is visual. It's what social media says over everything. Social media or die is what it's like the trademark.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But if you don't navigate around that and have them use this muscle, we're going to fall victim to it. We saw it in an election. The greatest example, we saw it in an election. There's no way you go from Barack Obama to Donald Trump and say, oh, yeah, that made sense. No, your influence, you allowed social media to dictate.
Yeah.
You became comfortable, so you succumb to the foolishness. Everyone that talks is anti is the one who they succumb to the foolishness because there's no guidance. The minute we start to guide and lead, the future becomes a lot brighter and prosperous. But if we don't see anything, we're going to be a victim of our own foolishness. Yeah. It's like watching your little brother be bad on purpose, knowing that you can step to him and say, yo, my man, what you doing? But you continue to let him be bad. And then when he in jail at 20, you like, oh, well, I told you when he was 12 years old, he was bad. Nah, you should have did something at 12.
Early, right?
He was already asking you questions. You kept ignoring him. And now that he's 20 making the same mistakes, you can no longer be mad. Because you watched it happen.
He comfortable in his decisions now.
Right.
He done made up his mind about them.
Cool with it.
Yeah.
We're all products of our environment. Trust me, the best athlete you seen probably came from the hood and you was like, yo, he's crazy athletic. He could do everything. But everybody around him is telling him that, but not telling him how to be better at it.
Yeah. So one last question for all of y'all. What general information would you give to the person that's listening that is beginning their wellness journey? And I also want you to put in a tangible step in there as well, something that they can begin tomorrow. What does that look like? What advice would you give?
You go first.
Okay.
I wanna hear what you got to say.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing for me was, one, having that conversation. Being honest with myself and saying my life matters, that's important. Two, tapping into those resources, getting some help. I know for me as a black man, when I think about getting some help, even now, it's like, you need to get some help. It's like this negative energy connected. Like, it's not like, no, Brenten, you deserve some assistance. You are running a very large company over there. You as the individual are a very, very large company. Companies don't have just one worker in it. You get what I'm saying? So tap into some resources, like get you a doctor, like get you a doctor, get a checkup, get you a dentist, get you a therapist. Oh yeah. Get you some assistance. That's all I'm saying. Like, get some resources. And the last thing is get community. Get around people that love you.
Yeah.
And get around people that are willing to love you beyond the mask. Those have been the three things that have helped me. Just a whole lot of self-talk, so a whole lot of truth to me, resources, I go to therapy bi-weekly.
He said bi-weekly.
Malcolm Bernard. I talk to that man. I be eager.
Yeah.
You know, to talk to him. And then again, in the last community, like the ICU bro, I'm gonna always shout out to the ICU bro space, and just the space that I'm living in my life in general, community, and being around good people that are gonna be honest with me, right? And being in spaces where people are not afraid to tell me the truth, even when it hurts.
Remember, sometimes you just got to create those spaces.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You can't just wait for them to be around.
Exactly. And so that's what I would give. What about you?
I said this. I wrote mine down. So, like you said, that number one thing is to look inside and talk to yourself. Ask yourself a question, right? That's the biggest thing.
The tough questions.
The tough questions.
Right.
The ones that you
don't run away from.
That's
Yeah.
sitting right there.
Yeah.
Like, I think every time we're running away from those questions. We already know the questions.
You can't run away from it.
But you got to ask yourself. You got to say them.
Yeah. It's
You
not
know?
the like those cookie cutter questions that you would ask
Hell
yourself.
no.
Like,
Them cookies
how
ain't-
am I today? No, it's
Right.
it's why did I feel this way, and what could have possibly triggered me to feel it? Like,
Those
Right.
tasks that
Yeah.
are sitting in the back that you know
Yeah.
exactly which ones that you should be asking yourself. Those are the ones ask yourself. For real. Look inside and ask those questions.
Indeed.
And then realize it's not about attacking yourself or attacking other people or justifying what you're doing. It's about growth, right? That's the biggest thing. Realize it's about growth.
The whole goal.
Yeah, that should be your whole goal with finding mental wellness, right? Adjust. Maybe it's the person. Maybe if, instead of it being a person, like how you were talking about, like sometimes we rely on people and attach our wellness to people and things like that. If it is that thing and that journey has moved on, sometimes find it, like in what Eury said, find it in creativity and
Right.
in different things like that, different outlets, physical outlets. And then the last one I would say is to bring someone along with in your journey, right? It may not be everywhere you go in your wellness journey, but like to a wellness event, or start a wellness space. Like I said, while you're creating space, maybe create a space with somebody else, right? Because one thing I do know from my wellness journey is that when you are helping others and giving back to others, and I think you can attest to this, Dupe, no matter what age group, especially the youth, that right there gives you a lot more energy, and it helps with your mental wellness journey. So,
Oh, for sure. Am I next?
you can be.
Yeah, let's go
You
for
want
it.
to go here? You want me to go?
you can go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right, I'll go. One thing I say that'll be tangible that they can take with them today and start tomorrow is journal.
That's a good one.
You know, sometimes you don't know how to say it, but write it down. After you've written it down, go back and look at it again. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you write down little tasks, or you write down, you know, a goal that you want to achieve. As you accomplish it, cross it out. You know what I'm saying? Or write down whatever is inside you that you're feeling. I think that is something that you can definitely take with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
A great thing that you can take with you over time and work on day by day is giving yourself grace. You know, we walk around with a hellified burden on our shoulders every day from trauma we went through as a kid, through as a teenager, and even as an adult. You know what I'm saying? Like, give yourself grace. Like, take your time. Be thankful that you're here on earth, and then look at the next thing that you're trying to do. Watch your next step.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I'm saying? See everything through. Like, we love to say, oh, yeah, I'm about to go do this. And then all of a sudden, you ain't even get up to go do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You done sat there for, you know what I'm saying, another 15 minutes. You was supposed to leave. You ain't left yet. I'm going to wear these shoes and this. You know what outfit you're going to wear, but you ain't going to go do it. So seeing things through, you know, and growing your friendships.
Yeah.
I think that's a very big factor in growth. You know, when you're growing as a man, your circle isn't the same.
It is not.
You end up pivoting. You know, and if you're really trying to grow, as we've all, like, growth has been, you know, a core word that we've all said. When you're growing, the people that are around you, you start to realize, okay, who in this group can I take with me? And who I got to leave behind? Because that next journey that you go on, not everybody's going to make it. And it's okay. You can't take everyone with you. And the sooner that you get to learn that, the greater your calling becomes. Because the people around you are going to take you to a higher place. And as, you know what I'm saying, you walk into these different rooms, you might have met this person before, but that wasn't the right time.
Right.
And the door that they open for you now is even greater. You know what I'm saying? And it'll take you to a different experience. And then you'll start to realize the people around you that are great, they keep going.
Yeah.
They not looking back. And they going to look at you at 1 or 2 times and say, yo, are you ready to go on this journey? And if you jester, they gone.
Yep.
And it's nothing. They never keep it personal. They be like, you good? Yeah, you good? All right. I got to go. I'm in this next door. Where you at? Oh, you not in this? All right, dog, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Because I got to go to this next room. So those are the 3 things for me that, like, give yourself grace, journal your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, but also your surroundings. Because we're prime products of our environment.
Yep.
And if your environment and around you isn't growing, you're not going to reap the full rewards of your full potential.
Nope.
And my biggest fear have always been is being a waste of talent. So that drives me so much, and that's what makes me drive, like, really push kids is to, like, and even adults. A number doesn't mean anything, but wasted talent. When you leave this earth, nothing you've done goes with you. It's what you leave behind. And I refuse to be wasted talent. Yeah. And I refuse for the people around me to waste their talent.
Word.
So I'll leave it with that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, bro.
No problem. Go ahead, Eury, bless us.
I mean, shit, y'all niggas done took all the answers. I'm not gonna lie, but nah, I will say, what worked personally for me is really identifying, and it goes to speaking to yourself, right? But really identifying where I was at that point in time. Like, where am I today? You know, what do I like about myself? What do I dislike? What do I feel I need to improve? What cannot come with me to tomorrow, right? Like, what do I need to just shed off, right? Being very, very honest about that. And then being very honest about who you want to be or where you want to be in your life, and seeing and be as clear as possible. When I say that, be as clear as you possibly, every last detail that you can fill out, the house, the shoes you wear, the how you put your money on the table, like everything, be as clear as possible about who you want to be, and cut everything off that doesn't align with that person, and nurture everything that does.
Details. And
then I would say, in order to even get to that place or start that journey, one thing I really had to do was pinpoint my traumas, right? I still do that till this day. I'll have conversations with y'all. I'll have a silent-ass car ride home, and I'll be like, man, why did that shit piss me off the way it did? Like, where did that stem from? Like, and that continues to help me grow, is pinpointing the trauma, because shit, we think traumas is solely what we went through in childhood. No, that shit could have been something we went through 17, 25. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we continuously have to pinpoint where these things came from, identify them, and heal from them, right? Because if we don't, at a certain point, they will become a detriment. Yeah, I'm living proof, man. I've been to where I've accomplished some shit, and the next thing I know, I lost it. Why? Because the same thing that got me there wasn't the same thing that was going to keep me there. I had to grow. I just felt like I'm here, right?
You already made it.
I already made it, right? No, that ain't it. That ain't it. It's a marathon. You continuously have to be conscious of where you need to grow.
You got to keep looking in your book bag to see what can get you through that next obstacle.
So I'll leave it with that. Is just really identifying where you are, being very clear on who you want to be, identifying what you need to do in order to fill that gap, or close that gap, I would say, and really pinpoint your traumas and identify why you are the way you are today.
Yeah.
What triggers you? There are things that trigger you. Everybody has triggers. You know what I'm saying? So identifying those things will only continue to help you grow and allow you to pay it forward to the next to the youth that comes after you. So
that's key.
Shout out to everybody listening to the I See You Bro podcast, a space dedicated to brotherhood, a space dedicated to transparency and honesty, and a space dedicated to understanding
Men of color
and
for
us
right now.
and us just being us in the conversations surrounding us. And so shout out to the I See You Bro podcast. I'm Brenten.
Hey, and it's your boy Mars, #1 misfit, and I really wanted to say thanks, dude, for coming out. Got to shout him out.
Appreciate it.
He is the head women's soccer coach over at Hampton University, HU. Had to shout him out real quick, you know what I'm saying? But if y'all like what y'all listening to, man, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, send somebody our way. And if you want to see us, you want to see Dupe, go on the Patreon.
Yeah.
I'm with it. I'm Mathew Dupe Hall. I appreciate y'all for having me on ICU, bro.
Yeah.
And this is a beautiful thing, y'all. Like, I got something dope going on here. I really respect it. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, you slid right in there real good,
right?
You did that exactly.
With the kick. But nah, this your boy Eury, man. Really appreciate y'all tuning in and listening. Please feel free to leave a comment down below. I don't even know. Is it to the side with Patreon? We don't know. But whatever platform, leave a comment about your experience, what you related to here, what you took away from this episode, because there was a lot of gems being given. Definitely want to we appreciate Mathew coming through, sharing a little bit about your story. But yeah, we out, man. This was a great one. It's one of them ones.
For the Bucks.